Welcome to the Success Daily podcast. Today I'll be your host, Tadas Velička, and our guest today is Barbora Dulkytė, ESG analyst at SEB Bank, a ISM student. And hello, Barbora. Welcome to have you.
Hello, Tadas. Thank you for having me here.
Mhm.
Super happy and looking forward to our conversation.
Starting off with our first question, when you started your studies at ISM, did you know that you were going to go into the sustainability and finance sector, or what were you thinking?
When I started bachelor studies, I didn't know that sustainability will be my topic and it will be the topic of my professional career at the moment, or will be the topic of my research. I started in this economics and politics program, and it was a very broad scope program with different perspectives. I like that it was, focusing on economics as well as politics. And then naturally, when I finished it, I was working in one of the biggest companies, I would say. And during this time, ISM created a business sustainability management program. And my bachelor thesis was focused on corporate governance, and sustainability is also linking this topic. And for me, it was quite natural to continue my research and maybe just, narrow it to the sustainability area. And now here I am as ESG data analyst at SEB, focusing specifically on sustainability. And I think that it's very interesting and very impactful job.
You're recognized as ISM Student of the Year and even tutor microeconomics at ISM. What actually inspired your mindset to become the Student of the Year, and what helped you actually tutor students here?
So I would say that the input and discipline into my work and research has helped me to get those Student of the Year or Best Thesis Awards. And I'm very happy and thankful for this reward. And I think that it highlights how important research is. And, it gives me fulfillment that I did something impactful and interesting. Also, those opportunities to improve as a professional or person, such as tutoring, they were very interesting initiatives. And I just, also improved as a person by educating on some topics and helping students to improve themselves. So I think that it gave me this proactivity and opportunities to actually do something out of my comfort zone.
You mentioned like the experience of tutoring students was really nice, but you also had international experience at the University of Münster. So how did that international experience help you grow as a person?
I was very happy that even though we had those lockdowns and pandemic, some of the universities and locations were still open for the Erasmus opportunities. So I chose Münster University in Germany. And despite the fact that we did not have those in-person lectures, we had online lectures, but the in-person, international community events, they were happening. So I met a lot of different people from different countries. And we had such great time by, completing the courses or by traveling somewhere else. Traveling in Germany, traveling to Italy, traveling to Netherlands, because the Münster is in very great location, and I know all the logistics is very efficient and very comfortable to reach other countries and cities. So I think it was very, open, mind-opening opportunity for me, not only to meet people, but also to meet other countries. And I think that also it was very interesting to see, from this educational perspective, what differences might be. So for example, I was shocked when I knew that we will have only final exams. And, at some point it's okay to have one exam, but when the exam is approaching, you have a lot of stress. But it was a bit different than in the systems we have, let's say in ISM. So I think, it was interesting to see the different styles of professors or, the students itself.
Yeah. So culture shock was one thing, right? But you mentioned like there were a lot of events. Could you name an event that you really liked, like a specific one, or were you just overall all great?
I would say that overall, but of course, those events that were Erasmus based, I don't know, that united, in some kind of activities like, I don't know, games outside, or because it was spring, so, the weather was better. So I would say that those uniting from various courses, I know various maybe programs. So those were the core events.
You also mentioned like you traveled to a lot of countries.
Yeah.
And you traveled a lot about Germany itself, right?
Yes.
Could you say like a specific city from Germany that you really liked or no?
I think that for me, one of the interesting and interesting cities was Aachen. I hope that I'm saying it correctly right now, but I know, it was quite, I don't know, small city maybe, but it was very beautiful, and the architecture was very beautiful, and I don't know, the day was beautiful. Maybe a lot of factors made this trip very interesting, but Münster as well was very beautiful city. It's very green. It's one of the, let's say, major cities for students. I know this fact. And it was very green with a lot of parks. So I really like this nature thing and part.
So you worked at AE Moody's government coordination and before joining SEB, right? So how did those experiences shape your professional career before joining SEB?
So I'm very happy that I was able to taste and, get to know what there's a feel to work in public or private sector companies, and also to feel the differences in scopes those companies are doing. So, for example, working at those multinational companies, it gives you this very big international perspective. You meet a lot of people from different continents, countries. You have teams with different also colleagues from different countries. So it's very, let's say, broad. It's very international. And we also got some traveling opportunities to meet, unite the teams. Working at, let's say, a corporate governance center or like, I don't know, public sector companies is also giving this very interesting feeling of contributing and doing something for Lithuania, or like feeling the economy, or I don't know, the core companies we have, the core issues we have. So feeling this local level, I don't know, atmosphere and the issues we might encounter, and how we can actually contribute by improving, making it more efficient, the processes, I don't know, the analysis. So I think all of it gave this like micro, macro level, I don't know, understanding of the economy, working in Lithuanian and this global level.
You previously mentioned that you got an award for the best thesis. So how did you decide that your master thesis would be focused on sustainability and economics?
Very good question. I think, as mentioned before, I would add this organically evolved maybe aspect. And I'm very thankful for my supervisor, Valdona Dorškovienė, because she was always leading and motivating me in this corporate governance, sustainability, and financial performance area. And I think that this connection and this communication also supported by the fact that I started those sustainability studies. I think all of it gave this, factor and enforcement for me to dig into this sustainability topic more and look into sustainability performance of the companies and how it can relate and affect the company's financial performance. And also looking into Baltics, as well as maybe incorporating some very good leading examples of Norway, so Nordic corporate governance model. So I would say yes, first connections, my supervisor, Valdona Dorškovienė, maybe my proactivity as well, also this educational background. Those were the core, I would say, factors shaping this choice and research area.
So great lecture. No, as well, you previously mentioned that when you got this award, you felt like you were doing something actually really important for like the world itself. So I want to ask, when people tell you, or for example, people complain that being sustainable isn't profitable, right? What do your findings say about this? Like, what's your perspective on this? Is sustainability profitable, or is it something that like in the short term is negative and long term is better? What does it say?
Yeah, so this I think is very popular, sustainability word, and maybe sometimes we do not, use it correctly, or maybe some people have some kind of misinformation about it. And I always like that we can base some, notions or some facts, like some notions or some, statements by facts. And here is the research as a fact. And those researchers, including me, we are investigating. So what data tells us. And I would tell as well that by doing this, master thesis, doing my research, I was, focusing on this area and focusing what other scholars were finding, or my findings as well support that sustainability indeed has a positive effect. Of course, we can find some mixed results depending on what type of, equations we want to do, or like relationships we want to investigate. But for my specific example, we found that indeed sustainability performance has this positive effect on company financial performance, which was measured by company's market value, by Tobin's Q ratio, to be more specific. But also, I think it's very important to understand that sustainability is incorporating a very broad scope of factors. And maybe some person can ask me, like what I'm doing with sustainability and my work, is it like with recycling? And then I know that the understanding is quite narrow in this way. But sustainability itself is incorporating like environmental, social, governance areas. And those areas as well have a lot of different dimensions and, a lot of different factors. So, the findings indeed find that focusing on sustainability will create this long-term value. And it can be that, yes, the costs in the short term are big and, they are like, the companies need to invest, but in the long term, the returns are there. And we cannot, I think, escape from the fact that climate change indeed causes us a lot of costs for the economies, for the infrastructure, for the well-being of people, for the social also maybe aspects. And we need to focus on sustainability and do something.
And now, UNIQA's water break.
Official Success DNA podcast sponsors. And now, let's get back to the episode.
You mentioned just now that sustainability, the word itself, is really either seen as like a narrow part like recycling, or sustainability is like misunderstood entirely. So what would be your like simple version of the word itself, so people have like a broader idea of what sustainability actually means, not just like recycling or, CO2 emissions?
So personally, I would say that for me, sustainability could be linked that with this careful decision, aiming for this long-lasting effect or result. And it can be associated with services, products, or other decisions we are making in our daily life. From this, maybe my professional perspective, I could say that sustainability can be linked with this ESG thing or notion. And ESG is incorporating environmental, social, and governance dimensions. So affecting the environment, so how the company is affecting with its operations or, product manufacturing or other, specific, business operations types, how they are affecting the nature, environment. Are they polluting a lot? What are the emissions, waste management programs, and so on and so on. The social area is linked with the people. So, employees, people well-being, and illnesses, a lot of different aspects. And governance is linked with how the company is managed, governed, what board, aspects we find, board independency, how many females we have on the board. So it's also a very interesting area, and I was focusing maybe on this most in my research. But I would say that, those three components which help, companies to achieve those, long-term targets or long-term values.
Yeah. So if you're going to take anything from this podcast, remember that sustainability is 3 letters: environmental, social, and governance. ESG. Remember it. Okay. You mentioned governance as one of the important factors for companies and sustainability. So my question is, what role do you believe banks and financial institutions have in enforcing sustainability currently?
I would say banks have a very crucial role when we're talking about sustainability development, and they can enable it through their capital and advice. And I'm here basing this idea on SEB's motion and notion. Indeed, I would say that banks need to focus on their internal operations and, having targets, aligning their operations with the expectations from the stakeholders, also tracking their, emissions or, some kind of business operation linked sustainability outcomes. And also, as mentioned, the focus should be and could be based on the products and services banks are providing. And for example, lending decisions and focusing on the clients who are also socially and environmentally sustainable and responsible actors. So there are a lot of various approaches, and I think that the banks identify themselves those core, areas. Looking into your internal operations and focusing on how you provide, to whom you provide your services is important.
So internal, check what yourself you're doing. External, pretty much like who you're giving money to, so to make actually a positive impact on the world, to actually see which companies are moving towards sustainability.
Yes, and maybe I would add that the regulatory environment is also very crucial, which is also affecting how banks are acting in terms of sustainability. In terms of targets, what targets should be set, maybe like, what kind of base, targets, the baselines, and the trajectories for the banks in the future.
Yeah, as well that you align with SEB Bank. So I want to ask, could you tell us a bit about SEB Bank history? Can you tell us a bit about the Wallenberg family, for example?
Yes. So the SEB's history is very rich. It was founded in 1856, and we see that the time of the services and of this existence is very big. And during the years, it felt a lot of crisis. It evolved, it merged, it had a lot of different business shaping initiatives, and now it's very, very strong bank in Nordics with very interesting and very strong corporate governance model. And this Wallenberg family you mentioned, indeed, they are very maybe not publicly well known, but they are very powerful in terms of the wealth they have, but also in terms of the social impact they provide to the community and the societies. For me, one of the most interesting facts I found and I've heard is that SEB was the first bank in the world to employ a woman in 1864. So, yeah, it's very interesting and I think very powerful fact. The SEB itself is acting in accordance with behaviors, so some kind of values. And three of them are act with perspective, create value, and build positive relationships.
Yeah.
And if I talk from my perspective and my experience so far, I would say that those strong, positive relationships that we aim to build is crucial part. And I really appreciate the team I have, the manager I have, the colleagues I'm surrounded with, and the SEB's values in Lithuania's office, for example.
Yeah.
So they are very strong. It's very connection based. We have a lot of professionals from different departments, areas, with very different educational backgrounds, experience, international experience. And it's very interesting to see how each of us can actually unite and contribute to this common goal of this creating value and acting with perspective.
So out of the three core values, you mentioned that the number one value for you is creating these positive relationships, correct?
Yes, I would say yes.
Okay. So when you mentioned that your coworkers, you create positive relationships, right? Could you take us a bit into a day of the life in the office as an ESG analyst? What do you do?
Yes, so the daily life in our team is very, I would say, varying and diverse. So we don't have, the same days in the week, how they look. And I really enjoyed that we have a very broad scope as well of the focus on our tasks. So as mentioned, that sustainability is incorporating various dimensions and perspectives. So it's also seeable in our daily work. And we do have some specific maybe projects on specific, sectors. So we contribute to those key economic areas such as transportation, agriculture. But also we're not limited to those, seeing, what the future might bring us. So the focus, of course, as data analysts is put on the data analysis, starting from the data collection, ensuring the data is high quality, and then contributing to some important decisions by providing the analysis of this data. But it also incorporates a lot of communication. And I think therefore those relationships and connections is very crucial, because we communicate with a very broad spectrum of the colleagues we have in our office. They affect, they contribute as well with their expertise to our work. And by uniting those, mindsets and all those opinions, we then ensure that our decisions are based on, a lot of factors. And therefore, yes, this communication, presentation of the results, sending emails, creating meetings, it's very, very, I would say, diverse and dynamic.
So a lot of things, but never routine, because there's so many
exactly.
variables that is something interesting all the time. Okay, you also mentioned in terms of SEB that you also look a little bit long term, right? And SEB is believed to be a long-term outlook bank because you have a lot of, for example, international experience and perspectives. But how does that actually reflect in the culture? Because you mentioned that you make decisions with a lot of different inputs. Was there anything else that is reflected in the work without this, or no?
Also very good question. So if I talk about maybe some kind of corporate governance aspects in the company and linking it with sustainability and long-term approach, I would add that we do have those very strong sustainability frameworks and policies implemented, which define the roles, the areas we are focusing. We also have sector policies which contribute to defining the sustainability in our bank. If we talk about this more, maybe, not informal, but maybe the soft part of people, of employees, SEB is also very strongly focusing on building strong leaders. And I can also assure, and I saw that in Lithuania's office as well, we do have a lot of trainings, conferences, seminars, especially focused on the managers, for them to actually, improve themselves as good leaders, and learn about change management or those difficult conversations, how to have them. So a lot of, I would say, a lot of initiatives are linked with this creation of leadership aspect. Also, SEB is strongly focused on building and supporting those young talents and young entrepreneurs. So, for example, we are almost 10 years in this partnership with Junior Achievement, where we support those young, innovative persons and supporting their ideas. We also invite students to shadow our work, to actually try, some professions. So it's also focusing and sharing our knowledge and giving back to the society from this, maybe our expertise level, and focusing on those young people.
Interesting. We talked a lot about the positive side and how well we affected. What's the other side? What realistically are the challenges that comes with trying to be sustainable, increasing sustainability, with this ESG data analysis stuff? What's the difficulties of the job?
Yeah, so maybe at this general level, as we talked before, maybe the understanding of ESG is not unified and universal. So, sometimes people might be a bit reluctant, or, not understanding clearly all the aspects. Also, I think that the issues could be linked with the strict and regulatory environment, because we see that it's strict and it's also affected by political waves. So it's not maybe it's a bit, how to say, volatile. And I think that it does not create this certainty for us and this confidence, like in general, I would say. So I think that for me, as this ESG data analyst, we experience some difficulties, the same as other departments would do in their, the work. So we do have, but we solve them, I would say.
Well, it's a good thing you studied Ecopol, right? So at least you know a little bit of these regulations, these politics, so you actually have a little bit of preparations. No, you also mentioned like you have a lot of initiatives for young, also entrepreneurs and other young individuals, right? But what do you believe from your perspective in the finance and sustainability sector? What type of innovations in the future could affect it in a major way?
I would see the core trends in sustainability in the future would be linked with net zero, and we are seeing that companies and including banks are going into this pathway, to ensure that the emissions are reaching zero from their operations. Also, I would link with increasing focus on biodiversity. So this topic is also quite complicated and complex at the moment, but the importance of it is increasingly becoming important. So
last time I checked, I think it was, I can't remember the scientific name, but I believe like it's like frogs and these types of like, not arachnids, but like the reptiles, I believe is the correct scientific term. Reptiles are the ones that are going most extinct in terms of biodiversity, no?
I'm not sure. You can be right, but I would need to double check this fact.
Yeah.
But indeed, the focus on this area and the focus on this sustainable and healthy ecosystem is we can see that it will be very, very important, and it is important, but it will be even more important, I think, in the short term as well.
You have both local Lithuanian experience and a lot of international experience, both in Münster and, as you mentioned, like with your work, you have international experience from your colleagues, right? So what are some of like the major differences you've noticed from work in Lithuania and from work internationally?
I've worked maybe at those international companies for longer, so I have maybe more experience there. But I would add that the scope and the teams itself, the number of people would be the differences. Working on this smaller team, maybe having this very broad scope of your responsibilities, I would link it with this experience in Lithuanian companies. And maybe when I am talking about those bigger corporations, I would add that we have, a lot of people, a lot of employees, and you have your specific, professional area. Like, I don't know, ESG data right now, and I'm focusing on this area. So maybe it's a bit narrowed in terms of those, conceptual things.
So specialization, pretty.
I would say yes.
Okay.
And
When stuff hits the fan and you're under a lot of pressure, what type of methods do you use to actually keep calm and perform no matter what's happening?
I would say that the first thing I do is contact with my colleagues. I think that having this and feeling the support you have is very helpful and helps to reduce your stress, and maybe a short call with your colleague or a short message will help you to do something in 5 minutes rather than, stressfully looking into this for 1 hour or the whole day. So I would say having this understanding that I can ask questions and, I have people to support me usually is the number one helpful tip for me. And maybe then also reminding myself that you need to do things step by step and trying to forget this big problem at this like very broad scope, but actually trying to understand, okay, so what smaller steps I can do step by step to reach this ultimate goal of my task. I don't know. Or
So, first of all, you said as well previously, number one thing is positive relationships. You contact your colleagues, maybe they'll give some clarity, maybe they'll help out. And then you also break down the task. So you have like this huge task and you break it down step by step, what I can do to like make smaller steps, but like incrementally they'll help you complete the task eventually.
Yes, and I would add that everything can be done. You just need to do, something like the saying of everything can be doable. So yeah, correctly.
Okay. Many ISM students who are also studying finance are looking into this finance sector and sustainability sector for their internships because they themselves are interested. What tips would you give them to get started in this sector?
Yes, so I would say that understanding and knowing the regulatory environment could be helpful. Also, it's very always interesting to know and learn about corporate governance practices because they define how companies are governed and how they focus on the sustainability, let's say, area. And from the soft skills perspective, I would add that students could focus on improving their, data analysis skills. And also, I would add the language, like English language, should be also, I think, at a very good level because, especially, I think that it's always useful. Yeah.
Okay, looking back, what's one or two things in your career or in your studies that you would have done differently? And you would, for example, go back and change it?
Maybe I don't have specific points where I would say that I did make a bad choice or I'm regretting it, but maybe I would just try to remove this pressure I had, for choosing the right program, for choosing the right workplace, for choosing, I don't know, the right choices because I think that the journey and where I am today, it was very organic and it was defined and supported by people I met during this journey. And I think all of the people were affecting my mindset. I know how I'm dealing with stress, what research areas I will focus on, what topics would be more interesting for me. So I think that everything evolved over time. And I'm not sure if I like the question when people say that, what you will be after 5 years. I think that everything, it's better to do and go somewhere rather than be scared of, not choosing the right option. And for me, I would say that I would try to remove this pressure from me at those earlier ages.
Yeah. So for students uncertain about their career, you just say go and do pretty much.
Try, meet people, try, I don't know, also take accountability and responsibility. Yeah? I'm not saying to, try the company and leave it after 1 month, but make your choice a bit carefully, but just not be afraid of, I don't know, if the role sounds a bit, I don't know, high level or, if you're scared to enter a big company. I think that we fear sometimes what's not in realistic, place. So just trying and then you will meet people. And then I think that in the future, you will see that everything is connected and maybe some people gave you some opportunities or you met other people and they also introduced this to some other people or you just got to know this internship, opportunity somewhere from this person. So I think that everything is connected. And again, people, people.
So just the people help connect the dots and everything.
I would say yes. Yeah.
So thank you. Happy holidays. Hug your family. Love them.